Hey people that are interested in cats, the paranormal and things. So today I'm doing another video with Simon. Where are you, Simon?
Not far.
Things I've got to put up with. Just get in the chair now. Come on.
I'll be back.
Yeah, well, trying to do ghosty things doesn't work.
What do you mean?
Well, the chair was moving.
I was asleep.
What,
I
the
always
kitchen?
I always lie on the doorway between the kitchen and the back room.
Of course you do.
It's good. It's rare. It's comfortable.
Yes. If you say so.
What do you mean? Sound like you don't believe me.
Nope.
I'm telling the truth.
So yeah, we're in the front room. Don't
Which
sit.
is at the back of the house.
Yeah, it is at the back.
Don't
of the house.
sit.
Don't rock.
I thought you loved rock music.
Right. Anyway, we're going to continue from. Obviously, you're onto a different subject now because obviously we did try to talk about our aliens are real, but now it's still on the part of the paranormal, but we're away from that now, aren't we? So this is part two.
Yeah. It'll be just no aliens anyway. Not for 57 years.
Well, thank God I won't be here then.
That was a reference to aliens.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. We used to live We used to live in a house, and it was near a crossroads. So I'll just call it the Crossroads house because I don't want to say where it was or anything like that. But before I got into that, I did think of something that happened when I used to go and stay at my grandma's. Don't think I mentioned this in the other video.
No, you didn't.
They always said they thought that the house was haunted, and especially like I think it was usually a Sunday. It might have happened on a Saturday as well, but I'm not sure. But anyway, Sunday mornings, you'd wake up some mornings at about maybe 8 o'clock, and you'd hear somebody downstairs, like moving around, and you'd hear the tap go on, and then you'd hear like like the sound of bacon going in a pan.
Yeah.
Like that sizzle, and I'd start, and you could smell it as well, and I'd think, breakfast, and I'd get up, and everybody would still be in bed, and there'd be nobody would be up. And then the other thing is that I'll just quickly mention about that is when my grandma died, and we were getting rid of the stuff in the house, we were clearing the house out. Everything was gone, but there was one thing we'd forgotten, so I went back, my mum sent me back to get it, and it was upstairs in the front bedroom. So like, it was about 9 o'clock at night, and it was winter, so it was dark. So I'd gone up and I was looking for this thing, and then all of a sudden, it was like there was a creaky step halfway up the stairs. And when somebody came up, you'd hear it, and I heard the creak. I was like, and this had happened once before years earlier. Don't need to go into that really, but
No.
it was I was looking after the house for him. It was at night, but it was like somebody was coming up the stairs anyway. So I quickly just ran out, and I'd found what it was by now. But so that was a bit creepy as well.
Yeah, I feel that. See, what people don't realise is because roundabouts this part of the northwest, there's a lot of it. There still is some places, industrial areas. I mean, it's well known for cotton mills, and it was just lots of workhouses.
Yeah, she worked in the cotton mill.
So, that's why I think even before some houses were built or parts of the land, there's been obviously there were so many, because obviously they had young people, children working in these places. So, there's going to be a lot of
because the machinery.
People passing away. Yeah, the machinery.
But, that reminded myself of something as well. My mum actually, I didn't see this. I was just told about it.
Okay.
But my grandma always said it was a nice old woman who lived in there, and she thought she haunted it. My mum told me it wasn't a nice old woman.
No.
She was an horrible old woman.
Oh.
And my mum told me one morning before school, so this would have been in like the 70s when we were still going to school. Yeah. She was there with a friend, she was getting ready for school, and there was like, if you imagine the front window there, and there was a ginnel across, and some houses here and some houses here, and there was a ginnel. And she said they noticed this old woman at the top, because it was on a hill, so thought of, not a massive one, but a little hill. And there was this woman looking at them, staring at them, and then she said she started walking down the ginnel towards them, really slowly. And they'd noticed her, but they weren't paying too much attention to her until she got to like where the road was. And she crossed the road, she walked right up to the window, looking at them like that, staring at them. And when they both, because she was with a friend, got up and ran in the other room, and when my grandma came back with them, there was nobody there. So I don't see why like a normal person would do that.
No.
You know, and it was like only seconds before they came back, and there was nobody there. My grandma went out and had a look. This was in like 8 o'clock in the morning or something like that. You know, so. But like I said, I didn't see that. I just.
Well, obviously, it's before you were born. You were ever thought about, so you're not going to see that.
Yeah. And the other thing is as well, that ginnel is the one I told you about, the cat, didn't I?
Yeah, but you didn't say the cat on these videos, but I think you've said it on some other channels.
Yeah.
About the disappearing
demons.
Yeah.
But I'll just quickly mention it again. It was night time. I'd been sent to the chippy. We always used to cut up the back alley. This was before every alley had gates on them.
Yeah.
And so I went up and I saw a cat who was on the ground. It was a little black cat, very green eyes, and I went to imagine that's a cat. I went to stroke it, and as I went to stroke it, my hand went right through it, and it just seemed to just go into all little bits and dissolve. But its eyes didn't disappear.
Like the Cheshire cat.
Yeah, but like the body disappeared, and the eyes were still there for a few seconds, and they were really green. I can't even tell you how green they were. And they was kind of like flash like that, and then go, and like. I don't know, I keep saying like, but anyway, that's what happened. So I told my mum a few years later, because I didn't want to tell anybody, I felt stupid. And she said, yeah, I've seen the same thing.
Yeah, we do, because at the end of the day, when you mention anything that spiritual, people are like, what the hell were you drinking?
No,
like, well, hang on, eh?
She would have believed me.
Yeah, I mean, even as a child, you're like, no, it's your imagination now. And not always is your imagination, because when you're a child, your mind is more open. And obviously, if you've seen something, you know there's something that's not of this world.
Well, you're conditioned to like think of like an explanation for it, aren't you?
Yeah, you do. Because that's why you get your debunking and everything else, because you get people that fake it. I mean, fair enough, we admit to what we just did then was just having fun. But at the end of the day, there's the reality, and then there's the ones that are just taking the absolute mickey. So, you know, and the show on TV and everything's just going off and off and off and off. And it isn't, because paranormal's not like that. It would just do it when you least expect it. You could sit there all day till you're blue in the face and try and get something to happen. Yeah. And then other times, you could be well, we've done it a few times. We've been filming, and then we look back and it's like, what is that? That has happened, but it hasn't happened for a while, but you never know. Because you've had a few things happening here, haven't you?
Yeah, one or two, yeah.
But
nothing like I used to, really.
No, it seems it's calmed down
apart
a
from
bit.
upstairs, but I already talked about that, the giant shadow thing.
Yeah.
But that was like 5 years ago now.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, it's calmed down a little bit, but I think usually when I hear noises, I just completely disregard it.
Well, speaking of noises, I'm going to tell you something in a minute about noises.
Go on.
Alright, so this was in I'll call it the Crossroads house, because if I just keep saying this house, it gets confusing and only I know what I'm talking about. So,
Yeah.
So we'll say the Crossroads house, and then we'll say the Masonette. Because,
Okay.
You know. So, and we had a flat before that where my mother played with the Ouija board, and something happened there with the doors. One of the doors was like going do like that, you know. Well, it wasn't. You know what I mean? It's like somebody was holding the handle and going like that.
They're trying to just open the door, or they're opening
without
it
turning it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like rattling it or whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's
pretty unnerving.
I think a few other things happened there, but I'm not going to go into them now. They're not really worth mentioning. So she played with the Ouija board, and then we moved to this house that I'm calling the Crossroads house, and she some other things had happened anyway. I'm not going to go into them, private things, but she started with depression. She had what's called biological depression. I don't know if you know what that is. It's something to do with serotonin not being developed in your brain anyway.
Oh, right, okay.
I mean, produced in your brain, not developed.
Developed. No, just
it's not a
produced.
photograph,
Yeah.
is it?
No.
So she started taking, like she had sleeping pills, and she'd just periodically neck them all to try and, you know, do you know what.
Take your own life.
Yeah. So, I mean, she did that like 9 times in the space of 4 years.
Yeah, that's going to be very, very bad.
Yeah, well, it ain't fun, I'm telling you, when you go to you constantly go to the hospital with somebody because they're doing that, you know.
You start thinking that you've done something wrong, that they want to do that to themselves, and what, you know, don't they think of the consequences of...
No, she didn't.
Yeah, some people don't realise that.
But anyway, one of the times that happened, I think it was a couple of nights later, I'd been playing on my, I think I had the PlayStation, the original PlayStation at the time, and so this would have been about 1997.
Yeah.
And I was supposed to have gone to bed.
Oh God.
But it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I needed to go to the toilet or whatever, maybe get a drink, I'm not sure. So I turned it off, and I went into the hall, and as I went into the hall, I heard coming from my mum's room. I'm not going to try and recreate it, but it was like you know, in the Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
The cackle that the witch does.
Yeah.
It was not exactly the same, but it was along the same lines as that.
Yeah, similar to that noise.
And without even thinking, I went, "What the hell was that?" Now my mum was a really bad sleeper, and she got woke up, she would have a go at me, because if she got woke up,
yeah,
that's it. She'd be awake all night.
Yeah, so it sounded like she had like bad insomnia.
Well, it's not only that, they were giving her sleeping pills, and you know, you take them, and eventually they stop working.
Yeah, because your body gets used to it, so basically it's like, oh, you're taking this, well, this is not unusual, so we'll just keep taking it.
But anyway, I said, what the hell, I don't think I said what the hell was that, I can't remember exact words I said, but it was along the lines of that.
Yes.
And then my mum said, "Oh, you heard it this time, did you, as well?" And anyway, we went to bed, and then the next morning she told me, every time that she's done this thing with the pills, more or less, well, I think it was whatever, I don't know, maybe it wasn't 100% of the time, but most of the times it was because she'd gone to bed, and then it was like something started, like if you imagine a bed's here and the bedroom door's over here somewhere, something would say a name. She was called Pat, so it'd say a name, and then there'd be like a little pause, and then it'd say it again, but it'd be a little bit nearer, and then it'd say it again, it'd be a little bit nearer, and then it'd be right next to her ear, and then when it got right next to her ear, it started telling her, like, you know, all these things, like, nobody cares about you, nobody loves you, you know, you don't matter, nobody cares about you at all, you might as well just end it all, you know, all these kind of things. I don't know exactly.
Giving you lots of negative feelings, basically tearing you down.
Yeah.
Making you feel really, really depressed.
So, and then she started going to a church then, which I went to this church with her once, so and I didn't want to go, by the way. It was under protest. I only went because they bought me a McDonald's for going out with them. Anyway.
Bribery.
I don't like McDonald's now, but at the time I thought it was great. Anyway, she started praying and reading the Bible and stuff like that, and it seemed to go away. She had some problems with substances as well, but you know, I have already mentioned this, but
yeah, I
think that's part of the reason why it was happening as well. Plus, there was, like I said, there was things going on in the family as well, and anyway, so that happened, and that was the same place I've already talked about, the post, and that was the Crossroads house as well. And there's other things, the pipe that was there, you know, when he lost his pipe, I mentioned it.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
And that time when I got the energy drained out of me, that was the house as well. So anyway, we were there in that house all together, I think about from 97 until 99. So end of 96 to 99. So we weren't there that long. Then we left there and we went and lived in a masonette, which, like, things had died down by then. Like I said, she'd been reading the Bible and everything, and she had some friends, but then they all kind of went away, and that all kind of went out the window. So she was back to being just on her own again when we were in this new place. And that photograph I sent you, by the way, that's in the masonette.
Yeah.
So then weird things started happening in this place, and I think sometimes when you move, it's almost like you have to start again with like getting rid of these things.
Yeah, because some of them can actually still have negative energy. You're meant to do like, when you go into a new house, you're meant to do like a house clearing to get all the negative out and bring all the positive in. It's meant to make the house a lot clearer.
Yeah,
because,
but I didn't know any of that.
Well, I know you don't.
I didn't even know about like this. I found certain prayers like you can do in a new house. I didn't know any of this stuff.
Yeah.
Then you know, I didn't have a clue. Nobody to tell me.
It sounds like a lot of this activity was all to do with your mum, because like you said, she went to church and it stopped, then she stopped going to church and it came back. Yeah. So yeah, it's like, you know, as soon as she changed what she believed in, it seemed to play on her.
Well, I mean, like she had the Ouija board years earlier, and in the 80s, she, like I told you, she remember meddling about, messing about with, you know, witchcraft and stuff like that. But, you know, so that's all something to do with it, and then there might be other things I don't know. I mean, like this is going back, but she told me that one of her friends who'd also started having these weird things happen to them. This again, I wasn't there for this, but she'd woken up in the night, middle of the night, and something was tapping on the window. This is a bedroom window, and then she heard a scratch, like a scratching noise. And in the morning, she looked at the window and there was a big scratch on the glass. So, like, I can't prove this. This person I don't.
Yeah, because basically it's coming from what your mum. Yeah, from your mum, and obviously your mum's friends. I mean, your mum's friend has told your mum, and your mum's related the story to yourself. So you know, it's
second hand, isn't it? You know.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we moved into the Masonette, and I can't remember everything that happened there. I'm sorry, I can't. But I remember, like, when we were there for 6 months and nothing happened. Maybe even a little bit longer. But then I woke up one night and it was like the room was freezing cold. And this was in summertime as well.
Yeah.
And I just happened to look where the door is. Like, so that's the door there. And the door opened that way. So
open like into the room?
Into the room, yeah.
Yeah.
I believe, anyway. Yeah, I did, because you don't open out into the hall, do they?
No. You end up taking somebody out. You open the door and somebody's walking past.
Yeah, you're going to knock
Clunk.
them out there.
It's like, ouch.
Oh, yeah. But where the hinges are, that side where the hinges are, it was like, I could see some kind of movement. It was dark, but I could see some kind of movement.
Like a flicker. So you got the hinge and it got
and the door was a little bit open, so there was like a gap. I don't know how far open it was.
And then you'll see something that was...
No, it was like in the top. It was over the top of the door. It was open and there was a gap, and it was like something was there, and I was looking at it, and it was like, if you imagine like a little black cloud.
Yeah.
Like about maybe that big. But it wasn't that shape. Obviously.
So basically it'd be darker than dark then.
Yeah, it was darker than the dark. Yeah, it was darker than the darkness, and it started like, it was like smoke almost. Even it started like coming into the room. I could see it pouring in, and as it did, it went down and it went up and it went into the corner of the room. So it was coming up and flowing up. So what's that?
Exactly.
And then after a little while, it was all in the room, and it was like it was spinning. It was like there was an arm and a little thing, and an arm and a little thing that was spinning round like that.
All right.
I can't put my arms all the way around, but it was spinning round like that.
Yeah.
Not fast.
Yeah. Slowly.
But that you know, believe it or not, that sounds like nothing, but it wasn't. I didn't know what it was, and that happened maybe. Exactly the same thing. It happened, then nothing for a week or so, then it happened again, and then it happened maybe like 5 or 6 times, and I eventually told my mum, because by the time the day had come and everything, I'd forgotten about it.
Yeah, because your mind's not really on it, but then when it comes to night, you're like, oh, right, okay, what if that happens again? And then you're shitting yourself, really.
And she told me, and this was bad advice, I think, she told me, well, if it happens again, pray for an angel, ask God to send an angel to you. You're not supposed to do that. I don't know why she told me to do that.
Okay.
Biblically, because, and I know not everybody believes this, I'm only telling you what I believe. If you don't believe me or you don't agree, that's fine. I don't demand that people agree with me. I'm not going to do that. This is just what I believe.
But wouldn't you use something like Archangel Michael? Or...
Yeah, no, but...
Okay.
Yeah, you could. There's the Archangel Michael prayer, isn't there? She didn't tell me that. She told me to ask God to send an angel. Now, if you ask for an angel, well, fallen angels are still angels.
Yes, they are.
Now, I'm not saying that it was a fallen angel, but it could be something demonic could have come in pretending to be an angel.
Yeah.
Because it not only did it not stop it, it got worse. It started coming every night then, and then I was starting getting like hearing voices in the hallway and stuff like that.
You can get medication for that, you know.
I started hearing voices like my mum would be in bed.
Yeah.
And I'd be playing on my game, and I'd think she'd be calling me. So then I'd go say, "What do you want?" And then I'd wake her up, and then she'd be kicking off because I woke her up.
Yeah.
Because she couldn't go back to sleep. So,
it's strange when you do hear that sometimes.
Causing arguments in the house, isn't it then?
Yeah. Then it's upping the atmosphere, making it more negative, creating more activity.
Why is the white lights flashing on the bottom there?
Don't know.
Anyway, I'm losing the train of thought now. So, that was happening anyway, and the other thing that happened was one Christmas time. It wasn't on Christmas Day, it was like Boxing Day night.
Yeah.
My mum had some gin. So she had a drink of gin. It got to about 9 or 10 o'clock, she used to go to bed. It might have been earlier than that. She used to go to bed for an hour and get back up. So she went to bed, and then maybe 20 minutes later, she came back down, and there was something different about her. And I didn't really know what it was. And we only had the TV on, the lights were all out, it was dark. So the only light in the room was from the TV.
Yeah.
And she was being really, really aggressive. And, really bad. And the room went really freezing cold as well, which I didn't really, at the time, I don't know why.
You don't think of
I
things
didn't
like
notice
that. You're
it.
more
I was
focused
more
on other
focused
things.
on her and on the way she was talking to me.
Yeah.
I can't remember what was said properly. I just remember she was really on top notch, being aggressive. And then she went back to bed. And then 20 minutes later, she got up and completely different person, just like a normal self. And I asked her about it. I said, "What was up with you?" And she said, "I don't know what we're talking about."
So she didn't even remember. It was like...
No, it was like she was possessed.
Yeah, either possessed or you feel like, to her, she would have felt like she was sleepwalking, but she obviously sleepwalking but possessed. You just don't know.
And then it happened again the next night.
Yeah.
Gin again.
Ah.
Right, she didn't drink all the gin. She had like 2 or 3 bottles of gin.
Yeah.
And the next night it happened again, but it was worse. She came down again after 20 minutes, and then she was down for like half an hour, 40 minutes, something like that. And she was really being horrible to me. Worse than the night before. I mean, really bad. And then she went back to bed, she got up, same thing, back to normal. And then the next day I said to her, "Right, if you drink that gin tonight, you're staying in on your own, I'm going out." So she'd give the gin to the next door neighbour, because I told her what had happened.
Yeah.
And I wasn't having that again because it had got worse
Yeah.
the second night. So what's the third night going to be?
Yeah,
like?
it's good. You don't know whether it'll turn violent or anything, so you basically nip it in the bud and it's like, "No, I'm sorry, there's something connected here, so get rid."
But when I was looking at her,
Yeah.
it was the same thing. I only had the TV on, but it was like, if you imagine, what's that? Like face paint, white face paint.
Yeah.
It was almost like she had that on, and it was like her nose had changed.
Yeah.
It was a different. I couldn't understand it. The second night was a little bit more
Pronounced?
I was a little bit more aware that something
Yeah.
was happening, but I still didn't really know what it was. I thought she was just being depressed and being horrible with me, but
Yeah.
depression doesn't change the shape of your nose.
No, it
And was
doesn't.
Like, on her forehead, it was like all these lines, and her eyes went weird somehow. I can't explain it. So it was like something else had been put over her face, like a mask or something.
Yeah.
And I have heard of that happening before.
Yeah.
So that happened. And then I'm trying to think. I think that's more or less the worst things that happened there, but they were bad enough. There was one time she was arguing with my sister, and my mum had over the banister upstairs. She had a necklace and she put it over it and had a cross on it, and she was arguing with me and my sister were arguing actually, and my mum went, "No!" Just tell us to stop, and the cross fell in half. Which was weird. Everybody stopped arguing then, and too surprised.
Oh yeah, you're like, well, how the hell is something that's made out of metal, breaking off?
It's like, if you imagine that's the cross there, underneath where it joins.
Yeah.
It broke from there.
Weird.
It just fell off. Nobody was touching it. There are other things I'm struggling to remember, to be honest with you. I'm a little bit tired today. But I mean, where do we go after that? Oh yeah, I got one more for you, and then you can do the questions if you want.
Yeah, okay.
So one morning, this was before what I've just been talking about.
Yeah.
I woke up about 6 o'clock in the morning, something like that. It was summertime, so it was light outside, and I could see. And the water, I happened to look at the window, you know, just to look out because I was still waking up. And over where the window was, in the corner, it was like there was this. It was weird. There was a shadow there. Like, it was very faint though. You could hardly see it. And so like there was nothing to cast a shadow there though.
Yeah, but it's a complete dark room, and it
wasn't dark room. It was.
light.
I didn't have any curtains, so it was light.
All right.
It was like 6 o'clock in the morning, one of them bright summer mornings.
All right. So yeah,
So
obviously it'll cover all the corners.
There should be no shadow up there. There was nothing to cast a shadow. So I'm looking at it, and I was still half asleep, and I couldn't understand it. And then it was like, this is really hard to explain now. It was like it pulsed almost.
Yeah.
It pulsed out, and then went back, and then it did it again. But when it did it again, it got a little bit darker, and then it kept doing it, and then it was like almost going down the wall. That was really slowly as well. It didn't happen quickly. I was watching it for maybe half an hour, and then so like it was going down the wall, and then there was this like little thing, like a circle here, with a bigger circle around it, and it was very faint as well at first. It was like it was growing, and it was becoming darker and darker and darker. And the only thing I could think of that it reminds me of, have you ever seen, you know, a chicken's egg?
Yeah.
And it shows you like an X-ray or whatever it is of a chicken's forming inside the egg. And you can see the heart beating.
They call it like candling. So basically, you'll have an egg, and you'll put it up to the light, and you can see all the membrane and everything inside. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's what it was like, and there was little tendril things coming off it, and there was this little heart thing, and it looked like a heart beating. It started to look like, it wasn't the shape of a heart because it was a circle, and it was pulsing. Like I said, it was. If you imagine like the way, like the tide coming in.
Yeah.
The tide had come in. And it go out, and every time it came back in, it got a little bit darker, and it was a little bit more noticeable. You know, I could see more what it was, to the point that like it was getting really. It was almost forming into something. I don't even know what. But after about half an hour of watching this, I was awake by now, so I thought, I've had enough of this. I'm going downstairs, and when I went back upstairs, there was nothing there.
Yeah, you're going to be like, out of the room now.
And that's the house as well, by the way. Sorry, I didn't say this. This was in the masonette. I don't think I said, did I?
Yeah, you did.
Well, it was in the masonette anyway. And that was the masonette where my mum got a new phone. This is actually on YouTube. I can give you the link if you want. And she got this new phone, and she didn't really know how to use it. She was playing about with it, and she accidentally put the camera on. And when she put the camera on, and it's only like 9 seconds long, this clip. Something says something like, "Oh, there's waiting in the morning," something like that.
Yeah.
I've showed it to you.
Yeah.
That's where that was. Now that was at 6 o'clock in the morning as well. Funnily enough, 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. It might even have been around the same time. I don't know. I don't think so. I think that was like a year afterwards or something like that. We only lived there like 7 years or something at the most. So. Yeah, so that's
generally
what I've got for you at the moment. I mean, I will have a thing. There are other things, but they happened in the house after that, which was the last house before my mum died. But yeah, if you want to ask the questions now.
Well then.
Okay. Do you not want a break?
No, keep going.
We can't do our joke, Chris. Okay, so there you go.
I'm going to take my glasses off because my glasses are all dirty and glaring.
Okay.
It says, can you describe your most intense paranormal experience in detail? Which you've done that really already, haven't you?
Yeah,
kind of.
that was the... 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 That was That was either the ones with the alien abduction.
Yeah.
Or maybe that with the. Oh no! Actually, no. But I'll save that for another video. It was when I first met you, and that night when I saw the thing in the corner.
Oh yes.
There is the thing with the door as well, but I think we should save that.
Yeah.
For another one, so skip that one.
Okay. And then it even says, did you feel any physical sensations, cold spots, pressure, tingling, etc. during the encounter?
That's happened to me.
So that's what I mean. This is carrying on from it.
Okay.
And it even says, have you had multiple encounters? But
Yes.
that again.
This is a bit of a waste.
Yes, it is. Did anyone witness the event with you? No.
Yes, actually, that did happen once. There used to be a shop near the old Sainsbury's, and there was 3 of us. My mum was one of them, and they had like a really old-fashioned dummy, it looked like from the 1930s or something. And we were all looking at it because we were walking towards it, and it almost looked like it came to life for a second. Now the other person who was with us swore blind that nothing happened, even though if nothing happened, why are you like acting like you're scared? Because he was. It was weird. It was like it stopped being plastic and turned into a normal, real person. That only lasted for a second or so, and then it went back to normal. But yeah, so somebody else did see.
Another one says, do you believe the entity or phenomenon was trying to communicate something? So some of these questions are really pretty irrelevant to...
Oh, leave it then.
The only thing is, the one that may be a little bit, it says, if you could go back and relive the moment. So this is basically saying on one specific moment, these questions. So it's not...
If I could go back and relive the moment.
Yeah, how would you handle it?
I'd go out.
Yeah, there's lots. Sometimes...
I never, like these things don't happen out of my choice.
No.
I don't want them to, I don't ask for them. I don't look for them. When they happen as well, it's not when I've like got the camera out and I'm looking for it. Because I find that when I go looking for these things,
they don't do
9
anything.
times out of 10, nothing happens.
Yep.
It feels like a waste of time actually. And then, like it's normally when I'm either just woke up or just going to sleep or stuff like that. So then that's when people say, oh well, it was a dream.
Yeah, exactly. Or you're not concentrating because you're not thinking of it 24/7 and then something happens and you start thinking to yourself, did I really see that? Well, it's such a time in the day and there's nobody else, and is it an echo from next door? No, because this house is quite solid.
I mean, that little cloud thing, by the way, after we managed to get rid of it, not long, about a year or so before we left that flat, we managed to get rid of it.
Yeah.
And a couple of times, I thought I saw there was like an old tree near to the place with the masonette, and a couple of times I thought I saw it in the tree. I don't know, not 100% sure about that, but no, I think I did. I think it was like hanging out on the branches or something, because the council, they don't put the street lamps on in some places, do they?
No, they don't, and they're meant to be cutting back and all of that as well with the lights. Oh, we're doing them at certain times and they're not going to be on. It's like, well, aren't they there to stop crime? So it's
They want people to get mugged, it looks like it. But anyway,
yeah,
it was dark.
Yeah.
But there was something in the tree and it looked like the little cloud thing, and it was darker than the darkness. But I tried to record it and nothing came up.
No.
It didn't work.
It doesn't always
I've even been back to that area since, not like last year or something, and didn't pick anything up. So take that how you want, but that's what happened anyway.
Yep. So people, tell me what you think of this. I mean, Simon's got a few things to talk about. I've got some, but sometimes I'm not very good at remembering.
Oh, and
I just tend to just ignore it and just say, do you know what? You're not bothering me, and that's why I find it leaves me alone. It goes and.
But there was a thing that I saw, which I'll say that, well, Nosferatu, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I saw that in the 80s when I was a kid, and then it went away. And then when I met you, that's when I saw it again. I think it's the same thing. It looks the same anyway.
Yeah, but sometimes you feel, don't forget, if anything's around you, who says it doesn't doesn't go through your memories, or I don't know.
Well, I'll just describe it. It was standing in the corner, and it's the same one I've seen here as well. And it looked like the Grim Reaper, like, the cloak and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I could only see from here up. So I had a hood. Not Hatman, it's the other one, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that was at your house, and that's been here as well. So
It's followed.
if anybody wants me to do that on another video, then I will. But I don't want to. This has already gone on long enough now.
Yes, it has.
So if anybody wants me to, then, or if you want me to, I will. We can do it another time. So you've got another video to put on, haven't you, I suppose?
Yeah, I do know that there's going to be people that at some point, when I get to see them, that to be asked about their paranormal experiences as well. But again, they'll even tell you it doesn't happen all the time. So if things happen, they happen. And if they don't, they don't. You can't produce it out of thin air. If something happens, then it does. Nice one, but anyway, tell me what you think of this story. And well, not stories. And yeah, let me know if you've enjoyed it and if you want to hear more and for me to collect more. And if anybody's got any paranormal stories you want me to read out, I can make them anonymous. If you don't want your name read out, I'll just make up a name if you wish. And send it to me down at my email, which is all in lowercase, JackieGreen_3@msn.com. And if you want, I can read some out to make things a little bit more interesting. Because I know for a fact, a lot of us have experienced something or the unexplained that you can not always come up with a logical explanation. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, share and subscribe, and thank you for watching. Bye. Say goodbye, Simon.
Goodbye, Simon.
So, how do you think that went?
Yeah, it was okay, yeah. It's pretty good.
Don't you think the spirits are a bit close?
I've been wondering about that. I've been feeling...